That kind of involvement by surgeons relates to another topic that was close to your heart as President, which you put under the heading of professionalism. What do you mean by that precisely?
Well, that's a very good question, and if you asked people walking down the street what they thought professionalism, I suspect you'd get as many different answers as people you asked the question. And indeed, we in surgery, as one of the professions, may have been a bit unclear about what that amounted to as well. But there are there are a number of key words that perhaps encapsulate professionalism: altruism, honesty, compassion, empathy. They're the sort of big ticket items that help clarify professionalism. In a purely definition sense, it implies, if one looks it up in the dictionary, a group of people who have a special domain of practice and are given authority to regulate themselves. And that sort of definition I don't think is very helpful, because one, we don't tend to regulate ourselves quite in that way without any oversight, as used to be the case. And secondly, it doesn't really describe the nature of the people who are professionals. And I think for us in medicine, it is a reflection on the type of person that we must be if we wish to assume that role. This is not professionalism as in the professional rugby player who gets paid for their job. No, it's not that sort of professionalism. Professionalism in medicine implies a type of behaviour and personality and characteristic that provide benefit to society. Now, benefit comes from knowledge and training, that's certainly part of it, and expertise and brilliance in diagnosis also part of that, but it has to be mixed with the other sorts of aspects of professionalism that are encompassed in those other words. And I think focusing surgeons on what it means to be a professional is a very important part of what the college needs to do as part of its training, and many of those aspects now are clearly enunciated in our college Australasian competencies, of which there are 9.
And how do you see that kind of professionalism being displayed? How do you like to see it being displayed on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I'm sure our patients would expect it to be displayed on a day-to-day basis by caring for them, putting them first, and I think that's important on an individual basis, but also caring for society. And you mentioned the disasters. I mean, that's a classic example where people I know in Christchurch whose houses were falling down, whose families weren't necessarily 100% safe, went to work to look after people who were injured and were worse off than that. Classic examples of altruism, compassion, empathy, caring, part of what being a professional is.